I've been stealing on this train for 5 years. Every morning, every evening from coach 1 to 4.
You all know me. You've seen me.
But that bag isn't mine.
If the bag isn't yours, why were you carrying it?
Let me tell you what happened.
Some people spend their lives making honest money. Others spend their lives taking what belongs to someone else. Bente belonged to the second group. For 5 years, he had lived by one simple rule: never get caught. At the station, Bente watched the crowd carefully. He wasn't looking for someone weak. He was looking for someone who looked wealthy. Then he saw him. A well-dressed man stood holding a dark leather travel bag, waiting for the train. Bente watched him, followed his movements, and waited. The train arrived. Passengers began rushing in and out. And in the confusion, Bente made his move. He grabbed the man's bag and disappeared into the crowd. But something was strange. The man didn't chase him. He didn't shout. He didn't even board the train. Bente noticed, but by then, he was already inside. Bente sat in coach 4. It was usually the quietest coach. Bente found a seat at the back. He looked around. Nobody was paying attention, so he placed the bag on his lap. For Bente, this was routine. He would steal a bag, open it, and take whatever was valuable. He reached for the brass latches. Then he opened the bag. What Bente saw terrified the life out of him. He quickly jumped up and threw the bag to the floor while screaming. Other passengers saw this and, one by one, they rushed to see what was happening. The first person looked inside the bag and ran screaming. One after another they looked with the same reaction. Suddenly, the entire coach was filled with fear and panic. They screamed uncontrollably. They were terrified at what they saw. Bente panicked. He tried to run. But coach 4 was now crowded. Passengers blocked the aisle. Someone shouted for security. And within seconds Bente was caught. The passengers surrounded him. Bente raised his hands. He tried to explain, but nobody wanted to listen. Fortunately for Bente, railway security arrived before the crowd could hurt him. The officers pushed the passengers back. They separated Bente from the crowd. Then they locked down coach 4. The train finally reached the next station. 3 security officers escorted Bente from the train. His hands were restrained. The bag was carried behind him. And the passengers watched. In their eyes, Bente was no longer just a thief. He was a murderer, a ritualist, and a terrorist. At the police station, statements were written. Evidence was recorded. The bag was secured. And a case was opened against Bente. Bente continued to insist that he had no idea what he had stolen. But admitting to theft had already placed him in a terrible position. Soon, Bente stood before a judge. He told the court exactly what happened. Yes, he had stolen the bag. But he insisted that he had not committed the crime everyone believed he had committed. The courtroom listened. The judge considered the evidence, and then came the decision. Bente was sentenced to life imprisonment. He was 24 years old. The prison gates closed behind him, and Bente's freedom disappeared. Days became weeks. Weeks became years. The train he once moved through so freely became a distant memory. Bente grew older behind those walls. He watched other prisoners come and go, but he remained. He had made one terrible decision. He stole a bag, and that decision followed him for the rest of his life. In 2012, Bente died in prison. He was 47. 30 years earlier, he had stolen a bag. He thought he was stealing someone's belongings. Instead, he walked into a nightmare. He paid for a crime he never committed. But he was not innocent of everything. He had made the first wrong choice. He took what wasn't his, and from that moment, his life was no longer his own. A life wasted, a choice so wrong, and a regret that came to light.